Aisha Yesufu no grill. See the way she was blasting in an interview. Just take a listen of what she said about the Senate. She said that the Senate are full of I'll not say it. Just take a listen for yourself and then air your view in the comment section.
Ijoma, hold on. Yeah. In an oppressive society, politeness is not a strategy. These are my words. When you invited me to your show, you are not going to speak for me. If you want to speak and have a program for yourself, just have it. The first thing that we need to do is that people like you, Ijoma, who are the media, should stop gagging people. In same countries, Ijoma, your colleagues, your contemporaries will be calling for him to step aside, to resign because of this allegation. They will not be telling their guests what to say and what not to say. Thank you so much for having me, Ijoma.
Thank you too. The development coming from the Senate, Senator Natasha-Akpabio has been suspended. And this has to do with the issue of the harassment saga, the allegation of harassment which she raised against the Senate president. It's been a talk of town, social media agog with so many comments, and women have been reacting to it. But it's surprising that women in the Senate did not even support their own fellow women. A woman, I beg your pardon. So what kind of a signal is that sending out?
Well, first of all, I think this whole saga, it's a shame on a nation. And before I even talk about from the women angle, I think I need to talk about it from the nation's angle. It just shows that Nigeria is a country that is full of citizens who have been disempowered of the power, that the collective power that they have as a people. And it talks about a Senate that is full of not only cowards, but also slaves who absolutely do not even know why they are there. First of all, you're looking at this whole issue, and the person who is alleged perpetrator is the one who is sitting judge over the matter. You know, while you were playing the recording from the Senate, I was watching it, and it was so comical the way the so-called Senate president, Akpabio, kept on asking, because he was as if he was seeking for the nays. There are no nays, because what we have in the Senate are men and women who have been enslaved, who have no voices, and absolutely have nothing else. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. So what we have at the Senate are cowards and people who have been enslaved. And then you will imagine that since this allegation is against the Senate president, the first thing that needs to happen is that he needs to step aside while this whole proceeding is going on. Even if the members of the Senate did not have the audacity, neither do they have the independence of mind to be able to tell him to step down and at least allow the deputy Senate Speaker be the one to preside over that whole charade that they did. He, as the Senate president, expecting that Nigeria would have had someone who had a bit of character in him, he would have rescued himself. But you didn't see any of that. What you saw was them sitting down there and just parading themselves, showing that absolutely we do not have lawmakers in the Senate. That is all. So as a nation, this is not even about Senator Natasha. And when people talk about the fact that I heard Senator Ireti, and that was so shameful. What was that all about? Most of these women, especially the older generation, do not understand that what they have accepted is not what the younger generation are ready to accept. The kind of injustice, the way they have been silenced. Like I had someone, Zuma, who made that said, our mothers brought us up not to be silenced. And so the things that they accept is not what the younger generation is going to accept. And so for all of them, they have gotten to where they are because they have always defended patriarchy. Whenever they stood against patriarchy, they were punished. And we could see in recent times where Senator Ireti herself has been punished, Senator Natasha stood solidly, gallantly, courageously beside Senator Ireti. But the moment that Senator Ireti stood up for her own right, the moment Senator Natasha stood up for her own right, Senator Ireti was the first to throw her under the bus. It's just despicable. And I tell you, as I sit down here today, I just landed and I got the message as the plane was touching that look, that Senator Natasha has been suspended. And I felt shame for being a Nigerian. And every Nigerian at this moment, we should feel ashamed of this charade that has happened, because the members, the 109 members, or I should say 108 members of those senators that we have in the Senate have shown that, one, they have no regard for us. They have shown that, one, they are not independent. They have shown that they are cowards. They cannot stand for the truth. They cannot stand for justice. They cannot stand for equity. The least that would have been asked for would have been an independent investigation. Why are they afraid of investigation? Is that what they do? Is the sexual harassment a norm at the Senate? Is that why they are afraid for there to be an independent investigation, an independent hearing on this whole thing to actually find out what it is that happened? All they can do is that they will suspend her as senator. Do they even have the right to suspend her as senator? Because they were not the ones who voted her in as senator. Okay,
Aisha, you see, relating to the Senate president and calling him a so-called may not be too good for that office, and that's what Nigerians are trying to avoid.
Ijoma, hold on. Yeah. In an oppressive society, politeness is not a strategy. These are my words. When you invited me to your show, you are not going to speak for me. If you want to speak and have a program for yourself, just have it.
You don't. No, you
said a Aisha, those are my words.
Oh no, Aisha,
we are looking. NCC will no longer find you.
No, Aisha, let us take a look at the office, because that is the office for you and I. Senate president is an office. It's. We should at least try and respect that office, even if you're not happy with the person who is occupying the office. But the office is a national office, and it's like not having regard. So why I'm saying this is, what can we then do to ensure that offices, higher positions, and offices that represent the people of Nigeria and the voices of Nigeria are not brought down to ridicule?
So the first thing that we need to do is that people like you, Ijoma, who are the media, should stop gagging people. This whole politeness and that you keep doing, it doesn't work.
No, I didn't gag
when
you.
When I said the so-called, I called it the so-called because the office of the Senate president isn't supposed to behave in this manner that we have seen. In same countries, Ijoma, your colleagues, your contemporaries will be calling for him to step aside, to resign because of this allegation. They will not be telling their guests what to say and what not to say.
No, you're not having a battle with me. It's an interview. It's an interview conversation. You're not having.
And that's why I'm telling you, NCC no longer finds you. The court has said that the NCC has no right to fine you. I know where the fears are coming from.
No, Aisha, you don't understand. You do not understand.
And all of that. Can we have this conversation?
No, let me make you. Hold on. Let me make you understand why I have to bring that. The office of the Senate president is number 3 in the hierarchy of leadership in Nigeria, and it's number 1 in the legislative arm of government. And if this office is being denigrated the way it is now, and people are calling it names, I'm not speaking about the person. If the issue is about the person, because the allegation is about the person, so probably for our sake, not for the sake of any person, anybody, for our sake as Nigerians, because the world is watching, so we just have a way of,
the world is actually watching you. And let me just come back, because the technicalities, because this is what they always do, and what they have done at the Senate, working on technicalities. I didn't call the office of the Senate president. I spoke about this so-called Senate president. I wasn't talking about the office. And by the way, Ijoma, the highest office in the land is the office of the citizen. You and I occupy the highest office. The power belongs to people. If you want to go into semantics, if you want to go into the whole politics of it, let's focus on that. The highest office is the office of the citizen, and that's the office that I occupy. And when I was speaking, I didn't call the office of the Senate president. I said the so-called Senate president, not the office, the person that is occupying it today. Tomorrow, that could possibly be me, that could possibly be you, Ijoma. And at this moment, where we have this kind of travesty going on, where someone who is accused of sexual harassment sits on top of the throne and is judging the matter. And I wonder your blood is not boiling, Ijoma, but you're boiling at the fact that I called him so-called Senate president. If you want to have this interview, you with your own words, you can go ahead and have it. If we're going to talk about the issue about Nigerians who are oppressed, Nigerians who are not allowed to have voices, media that has been gagged, legislator who cannot even come out to speak. Let me give you an example. The same Senate president that you're talking about today, Senator Natasha-Akpabio, also had his meltdown in the Senate. What happened when he had his meltdown? Was it not someone that was Senate president at the time? He was a floor member and he had his meltdown and he could speak what he could say. One of the things we need to understand, this is not about Natasha.
Aisha,
this is about Nigeria and the fact that our
can you just unmute yourself? Your audio has gone. Probably you check your device.
I mean, you guys need to check your device whether you actually want this thing to hold.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know why you can't hear me. So you guys
I couldn't hear you at that time. We are not fighting each other. We are both women. So
no, we are not fighting.
Exactly. But let's leave the argument out. Let's leave the. I am not gagging you. I am not gagging you. I am only a professional that is doing my job. So let's leave.
This is not professionalism.
No, it is. I don't.
I want not to
I am not.
Aisha, my office is the highest office in the land. You need to respect it.
Aisha, let us remain with the issue. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Let's remain with
another way. So let's focus.
Right. Okay, now she has been suspended, and that is like suspending the entire constituency, Kogi Central. I know that there have been court cases.
Now we are blaming the victim.
I know that there have been court cases condemning an act of suspending a representative of the people elected by the people. Even though the Senate president said she's a court, well, I can't remember his word verbatim, but looking at this angle, which affects the people directly, she represents a circle of people in a particular senatorial district. So what can you say about the decision of the Senate today?
So the first thing that I'm going to say is that why is it that at any time that we have senators who are standing for their people or who are speaking the truth, they always get suspended? I can't remember the name of the last senator who was suspended for simply coming out to say that the budget was padded, and it was proven that it was actually padded, and he was suspended and sent away. That's one thing.
That's Abdul Nengi.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, yes, Senator Abdul Nengi. I think as Nigerians, this is the time where we should question ourselves and not focus on pseudo politeness and pseudo courtesy. Where we ask ourselves, why is it that the few people who do the right thing are always being punished by the Senate, but those who are doing the wrong thing are the ones who are given enabling environment for them to continue to do the wrong thing? That's the biggest question we need to ask. And I want to quickly I want to digress a little bit to take us to the time when the IG of police was reading out his budget, was presenting his budget. And another senator pointed out that the budget the IG of police was reading out was different from what they had. You see, literally, fellow senators were fighting the few who were speaking on our behalf as a people. So there is a pattern that the Senate has gone on to do of oppression and suppression. And the issue we should focus on now, and I want us to look at that whole charade, and it was a charade, and a very shameful one, is the fact that Senator Akpabio sat down on a matter that concerned him, and he was the one that was presiding over it. He was the one that was reading out the judgment. He was the one. What does that say about justice, about equity, about fair hearing, about rule of law? All of these things are things that should worry us, because this is a big shame. This is not just about, Senator Natasha. And then we had them bringing out everybody. We saw, even when that committee was set up, you knew she was not going to get justice because of all the senators that came out. They all came out and they were saying the same thing. They were victimizing the victim, vilifying the victim, and then the alleged perpetrator, they were there, canonizing that particular person. That is a problem. And when we talk about sexual harassment, this is something that happens across board. A lot of people are victims of it. What message does this send out to people who are out there, that you dare not speak out, you dare not have a voice, and everything will be brought against you to shut you down? I think these are issues that we should focus on, and we must get to a place where we need to have a judgment if there's no judgment already. I do not think it is fair. I do not think the Senate has a right to suspend somebody from being a senator, because they were not the one who voted that person to be a senator. They can suspend someone from being a member of the committee, from doing any extra work that you do when you're there. But as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which was a power that was given to someone by the people, and let's not forget that power is derived from the people, and so that particular power should not be taken away by the Senate just because we have people who are standing up and speaking, for Nigeria. And on this one, I would say shame on the Nigerian Senate. Shame on all the senators, 108 of them. They sat down there. Nobody could stand up and, be a voice. Most of them are there. They do not have voices. They complain by the side that even when they bring this thing, they don't get to see, is it bills or whatever that are brought on, they are passed on. And this is the time for them to stand. But unfortunately, they decided to go the way of cowardice.
Okay, but were you expecting that she will be suspended following the phases of events since the incident happened at the floor of the Red Chamber? Were you expecting
following the pattern of the Senate? That was, everybody will expect that, because that's what they do. That's the weapon. So, and it is also the same thing that they have used to put a lot of senators in place. So a lot of senators don't have voices. They are voiceless. Some of them are faceless. A few of them have names, and a good number of them are even nameless. They are just there. They dare not stand out of line, and so they forget that in the Senate, they are all first among equals. The fact that you're Senate president doesn't make you any special. You're just giving extra responsibility for you to serve. It is only in Nigeria that you have, because you've been made a Senate president, it now enters your head, you feel that you are alpha and omega. No, you aren't. You are first among equal. And because we have senators who are mentally abducted, you understand? We have these people who are physically abducted. They are there with the terrorists. They are with kidnappers. In our own Senate, we have senators who are mentally abducted. They do not understand that they have the right for them to remove whoever is Senate president and choose amongst them someone that will lead them. So it's first among equals. What we have now is just a bunch of, let me just say, a bunch of clowns. Please.
I think. Aisha, we really need to check our language here, because it might send
No, Ijoma, you need to check your language.
No, we need to actually check our language. There are ways we can also...
No, Ijoma, you need to. It's English language. Go to the UK Parliament, Ijoma.
No, this is not a parliament. This is not a parliament. This is a live TV show.
It's not an
This is a live TV show, not a parliament. They can do that there. But let me ask you this question, Aisha. We are moving on to looking at how the Nigerian women are feeling at this time and what can they do, because I've heard some voices behind, voices that are not that do not have the courage to come out to speak out and say this is what we want. What can they do now to show support or solidarity for one of their own? They have just few women in the Senate and one has been suspended. That's like reducing the number of women in elective positions. So what can the women of Nigeria at this time do for Senator Natasha-Akpabio?
Well, I think the first thing that Nigerians need to do is to let the women breathe, and let's stop gagging people. Let's stop stopping people from speaking their mind, and let's stop this whole thing where we think we need to protect authority. Authority doesn't need to be protected. They're supposed to serve, and that's what they're there, to do. And having said that, I'm going to say to every one of us as a woman in Nigeria to understand that this deeply affects us. We are not seen as citizens in this country. We are not seen as anything. We have no political influence. We have no political power. We have the numbers. The numbers are being controlled by so many people. It is time for us to come together, to band together, band with the youth. And when we are talking about women, and this is the irony of it, there are two demography in this country that are not seen as citizens. They are seen as subhumans, or should I say sub-citizens. We have the women and we also have the youth. And so it's time to band together and get that political power. We need to pull the political rug off these people who think that they are the ones that will control, the powers that be in this country. At this moment, it's a moment for us all to know that this fight is not about Natasha-Akpabio alone. It's about every one of us, and we must all lend our voice, even when people try to shut our voices. And one of the things you must, and I'm saying this to the women out there, one of the things that you must understand is that in an oppressive society, politeness is not a strategy. Courtesy is not a strategy. One of the things that people will try to make you feel that, you need to be polite, you don't need to say this, you don't need to say that. I mean, drop all of those things. We are being killed here. We're being facing the effect of bad government. The last thing that we'll sit down and begin to do is for someone to tell us what to say, how to say, and when to say it. And so we need to come and strategically show support for Senator Natasha-Akpabio Wahala and be with her and take this on. If we need to take some legal action, I think if it has not already been had tested in the court, it needs to be tested whether the Senate has a right to suspend someone that has been duly elected by the people. I agree, if they want to suspend, they can suspend you from participating in extracurricular activities. For example, being a committee member, going on certain project, or doing your that oversight function and stuff like that. But for them to stop you completely from your legislative duties, from representing your people and depriving a whole set of people of representation, I don't think that is that is morally ethical. I don't think it is justice. I don't think there is equity in that. And those are some of the things that we need to challenge. But at the end of the day, to say to everyone, this is not just about women issue. This is about any time we have a senator who is standing for Nigeria, who is standing for the people, who is daring to have a voice, the Senate are quick to suspend the person. But when we have senators who are found wanting in one way or the other, the Senate sort of like brushes it aside. That should worry every Nigerian.
Aisha Yesufu are proven to be one of the fearless women we have in Nigeria. Women that believe in justice and believe in doing the right thing, because that woman have been with P2B, like she supported P2B in that election. Like all the campaign, she was there. All the protests, she was there, because she also believes in the right candidates for the job, not because this person is the right person for the job. That's why I believe she's doing all these things. Like Aisha Yesufu have been standing firm on the right things. Aisha Yesufu, sorry, deliver to me, Lawyer Deji Adeyanju. These are the few people I know that still believes in the right thing, because other people have been bought. I don't know how much they paid them, but they have been bought. Can you imagine the rumor? You know, rumor service that I'm verified that the Senate received the bribe of $10,000 each to come and agree with suspending Fubara. It's only few that said no to that bribe. Like I keep asking, how much are they paying you that you are still easily bribed with money? Our leaders are being paid a whole lot of money, but yet again they will still be bribed with money to do the wrong thing. You are fully aware that this thing that they are doing to Fubara is the wrong thing, but yet people went ahead to vote it and then agree that this thing should be happening because they bribed you with $10,000. How much $10,000? How much do you people steal and earn in Nigeria? Ask yourself that question, and then I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned, guys. Any of you in the comment section, guys.